It's 2026 in Detroit, and the cranes don't sleep. Freight trucks line up for a new 2.5-kilometer international bridge. Crews map out a boulevard where a freeway once cut a trench through Black Bottom. A hospital tower rises like a glass metronome over West Grand Boulevard. Can one construction year reset a city's next decade? This is Detroit's construction crunch. The Gordie Howe span readies for traffic. I-375 begins its transformation with a $300 million street-level fix. The district Detroit shifts toward beds and classrooms, anchored by the University of Michigan's new innovation hub. Henry Ford Health pours billions into a next-gen medical campus. A privately financed, $150 million, 15,000-seat soccer stadium takes shape, and the Joe Louis Greenway stitches 29 miles of neighborhoods together. Would you bet against this momentum, or lean in and watch what gets built next? Look up. Two 220-meter towers bookend the Detroit River like tuning forks, holding an 853-meter main span, the longest cable-stayed in North America. The 6-lane Gordie Howe International Bridge is the new front line of cross-border trade in 2026. At 2.5 kilometers end-to-end, it links I-75 straight to Ontario's Highway 401, with customs plazas the size of small neighborhoods, about 170 acres on the US side, 130 on the Canadian. Imagine driving that arc while freighters slide beneath and semis sail above congestion that once strangled the border. Here's the hard part they've been solving: wind and ice across an exposed river, millimeter-tight cable tuning, and onboarding 2 brand new ports of entry with high-tech screening, trusted traveler lanes, and hazardous cargo protocols. The price tag, roughly $6.4 billion, also buys redundancy for one of North America's busiest freight corridors and a protected multi-use path so people can cross by foot or bike. When delays fall minutes at a time, how much does the region gain in a day, in a year? Stand at the rim of the trench and picture a street where taillights used to echo. In 2026, crews start the heavy lift, turning roughly 1 mile of the sunken I-375 into a surface boulevard with safer crossings, protected bike lanes, and room for trees instead of Jersey barriers. The goal is more than traffic flow. It's to stitch back the seams of Black Bottom and Paradise Valley, neighborhoods torn by the original freeway cut. It's a $300 million surgery on a beating heart. Utilities get relocated, retaining walls come down in phases, and temporary ramps keep downtown reachable, while pavement is peeled back like layers of an onion. Stormwater systems are rethought to keep basements dry in cloudburst summers. The boulevard geometry, lanes, signals, and turn pockets, tries to balance throughput with walkability and future development parcels along the edges. Here's the tension. Can a people-first street still move the region at rush hour? And who benefits from the land that's freed? Before we continue with the video and my further explanation about Detroit megaprojects, I want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and help me out. Okay, let's continue. Picture a new academic beacon glowing at Cass and Grand River, the Center for Innovation, about 200,000 square feet of labs, classrooms, and startup space, pushing Detroit's talent engine into overdrive. Around it, District Detroit pivots from office first to people first. More beds, more doors, more street life. After financing reshuffles, 2026 is the build year. Grad student housing kicks off, hotel shells climb, and the UMCI core keeps stacking steel toward a mid-decade opening. Follow the money. Roughly $250 million for the Innovation Hub, folded into a broader $1.5 billion slate of mixed-use projects. Incentives north of $500 million help bridge the pro forma. In return, developers commit to affordable units, local hiring, and street-level activity. The challenge? Sequencing cranes and cash flow while interest rates bite, and construction costs refuse to blink. If 1,000 new residents live within a 5-minute walk of class, lab, and arena, what happens after dark? Do sidewalks fill, or do promises fade when the ribbon's cut? Imagine a hospital tower rising like a lighthouse over West Grand Boulevard, more than 20 stories, about 1.2 million square feet, stitched to the existing campus with skyways and new streets. In 2026, crews race through steel, concrete, and MEP rough-ins for Henry Ford Health's multi-billion-dollar district with Michigan State University and the Detroit Pistons. The core, a next-gen hospital with 400-plus private beds, 28 operating rooms, and an ER designed to swallow surge days without gridlock. Here's the impossible problem. You can't pause healthcare while rebuilding it. It's open-heart surgery on a running marathoner. Phasing keeps patient flow alive while utility vaults move, helipad paths shift, and a new central energy plant hums to cut operating costs. The price tag, $2.2 to $3 billion across components, buys seismic resilience, infection control airflow, and rooms sized for tomorrow's equipment, not yesterday's carts. If doors open by 2029, how many minutes will a redesigned ED save per patient, and what does that add up to over a year? Hear the chorus before the concrete cures. In 2026, Detroit City FC's new home, Alumni 5 Field, moves from demolition dust to Rising Bowl, a privately financed, roughly $150 million stadium designed by HOK, sized for about 15,000 loud, close-to-the-pitch seats. The plan? Keep the geometry tight so the noise stacks like thunder, wrap concourses with local food kiosks, and plug the venue into transit and neighborhood streets instead of marooning it in parking seas. Here's the engineering puzzle. Fit a full-size pitch, safe standing terraces, media gantries, and a roofline that sheds snow without dumping it on fans, while staying on schedule for a 2027 kickoff. Steel arrives in sequenced waves. Precast tread and riser units snap together like ribs. A hybrid grass system balances drainage with durability for a packed match calendar. Because it's privately owned and taxable, the stadium flips the usual script on subsidies. If matchday foot traffic spikes on Saturdays, what happens to the block on Mondays? Does a soccer venue anchor all-week street life? Stand at the edge of runway 725 and look up at where the new control tower will pierce the skyline. In 2026, DET finally gets the nerve center it's needed, a roughly $60 million FAA tower with modern sightlines, energy-efficient systems, and room for today's avionics, not 1980s leftovers. On the ground, an AV flight terminal and a 15,000 square foot heated hangar come online to welcome business jets without de-ice drama. Lighting and signage packages tighten the choreography. EMAS safety beds bookend the runways like invisible airbags. Here's the trick. Build a tower next to active airspace without grounding the airport. Cruise stage cranes between arrival banks, pour slip-formed cores at night, and coordinate every lift with controllers holding the very radios that will be replaced. Federal dollars, over $100 million anticipated across a decade, seed the upgrades. City and private money carry the rest. If the tower trims just seconds from every clearance and the terminal attracts a handful of new operators, how quickly does a neighborhood airport become a business magnet? Trace the chalk lines across a map and you'll see a near circle, nearly 29 miles of trail tying together 20-plus neighborhoods, the Riverwalk and the DeQuindra Cut. In 2026, crews push to close gaps, new bridges over rail spurs, safer street crossings, and fresh asphalt where weeds once won. Think curb-protected lanes, bioswales that sip storm water, and trailheads with lights, cameras, and call boxes, so a late evening jog feels routine, not risky. The puzzle is stitching dozens of small jobs into one continuous ride. Utility conflicts pop like whack-a-moles, soil remediation slows some segments, and every crossing needs signals that talk to each other. Federal grants help, enough to bankroll key links and design work, while philanthropy fills in the extras, art, seating, and native plantings. When the loop ties into parks and bus stops, a 2-mile errand turns into a 10-minute bike. Here's the test. Will the Greenway feel truly connected block to block? And who gets first dibs on the new storefronts that follow the trail? Before we continue with the video and my further explanation about Detroit Megaprojects, I want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and help me out. Okay, let's continue. Step back and the picture snaps into focus. 2026 isn't a headline, it's a hinge. A record-span border bridge rewires trade. A buried freeway becomes a front door. A medical district scales up to handle tomorrow's surges. A soccer stadium tests private money's muscle. An airport. Upgrades from stubborn relic to regional asset. And a Greenway draws a circle around everyday life, from school runs to weekend rides. Here's the wager Detroit is making. If you smooth the logistics, reconnect the grid, upgrade care, and add places to live, study, and play, the 2030s arrive earlier. But big cranes don't guarantee big outcomes. Who captures the value? Are the jobs durable? Do the new streets feel safe at midnight as well as noon? If the answer is yes more often than no, 2026 won't just be a busy year, it'll be the year the flywheel caught.